Hello, everybody.
Hi, I'm Tami.
This is take 2 of going live.
And you're Tom. And we're the creators of the blog and this YouTube channel called Nutmeg Notebook. And this is where we share with you all about our plant-based lifestyle.
So thank you for being with us today. We have 2 of our moderators with us today, Tiffany and Jesse. Oh, I've got to turn off sound over here. Where's it coming out? Hang on.
Technical issues.
No, it's working great. I just don't want to have the sound on right now.
No, we don't need that feedback, do we?
Okay, so anyway.
You were saying our moderators are here.
Tiffany is with us and Jesse is with us in the chat. They'll be helping us direct questions, answer questions, and get my attention for questions when appropriate. So thank you for that. And if you would, in asking a question, put 4 question marks in front of it so that it kind of jumps out at us. And if you're so inclined, put a couple more behind, and that makes it even more evident to my iffy eyes.
Ooh, iffy eyes. I haven't heard you call them that before. That's interesting. Okay, you guys, so today we're going to talk all about, is plant-based going mainstream? And what do we mean by that? Well, we're going to talk about that. So this morning, one of our loyal viewers and friend, Susan Johnston, sent an email with a link for us to check out a YouTube video. And it was all about an excerpt from today's Sunday morning show, which is on CBS. Now, we videotape that every week. We usually watch it in the evening after we've done our show here. But since she alerted us to it, we immediately went online and watched it. And we were amazed that a mainstream news program was actually addressing the plant-based lifestyle. And so we want to talk about that because in the past we've always said, okay, the reason they don't do it is because it would upset their advertisers, because you know their big advertisers are food companies and the beef industry and the egg council and so on and so forth. Well, now things are changing a bit, so it's pretty exciting. Do you have something to say?
Yeah, when we would be watching news bits in the past on whatever major network, and they would start talking about something that was news in the plant-based world, usually regarding health or better lifestyle or helping save the planet. They would touch on it a little bit, and then they would always end with, of course, all things in moderation, because we don't want to be too extreme. So every newscast would always come right back with that at the end of the little news bit. And
or they would have a nutritionist or a dietitian or a doctor
who would how important it was to get your protein in.
Yes,
so
right.
So plant-based news always seemed to be followed up with a but.
Right.
And this article
was not.
Doesn't do that.
So we have linked to it in the description below our YouTube video, but I'm just going to go over a little bit of what we learned because it was so exciting, you guys. And I'm curious if you saw this, put it in the comments and let us know that you also saw it. So Tom's got some photos that he's going to share with you too. So this is how it started out this morning. They were talking about Thanksgiving. This is Jane Pauley from the CBS Sunday morning show. And they talked about how 25% of Americans right now eat a flexitarian diet. Now, a flexitarian diet contains a lot of plant-based foods, but because I looked it up to see what exactly are they talking about. And so I looked at the Cleveland Clinic, had an article all about it. And so they said that it starts out, they suggest about 18% or 18 ounces of animal products per week. And then they cut that down slowly over time until you're down to eating very little of it. So a flexitarian diet can include a little bit of fish and dairy and eggs. So that was interesting. And then they were saying that plant-based is one of the fastest growing terms on American restaurant menus. In fact, it's up nearly 400%, 2,770% to be exact, in just the past 4 years.
It's up nearly 3,000%.
Yes.
You said 400%.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Well, how did I get that?
Unless my ears
No,
are
I
itchy.
said in just the past 4 years.
Okay.
All right. Wow, now we need to get your ears adjusted as well as your eyes.
We're going to check the replay and get the referees to do a stop motion.
Well,
call
if
on
I called it wrong, let me just reiterate that.
Okay, so we're back to almost 3,000%, right?
Yes,
okay,
the 2,770% in just the past 4 years. That's what I meant to say, if that's not what I said. Of course, a lot of that is because of the plant-based meat alternatives like Beyond Impossible burgers. And, that's kind of what Tom used as transition foods when I first went plant-based, because he was really missing the meats. And so he used a lot of the alternative plant-based fake meats and for a period of time, and that worked well for him in order to be a transition. Some people are able to transition 100% to begin with, and other people need to do it in baby steps. So there's no right or wrong way of doing it, but if you are fighting disease, whether it would be heart disease or diabetes or an autoimmune disease, the cleaner you can eat, the quicker you'll start to see results and feel better. And that's also true for weight loss. The cleaner you can eat, the more changes you're willing to make, then the quicker you're going to see results. And also, as you go through the grocery store, I think you've got another photo, you will notice now all of the plant-based products. So there's all the alternatives of dairy now. You have so many different plant milks to choose from, creamers, plant-based creamers to choose from, as well as plant-based yogurts and plant-based cheeses. Now, I'm not advocating that all of those are something that you should be eating. There are a few versions that are healthier than others of some of these things, especially the cheeses. A lot of the cheeses are oil-based or nut-based, so they are higher in fat, but there's some of them that aren't too bad and that could be included on an occasional basis. And then, of course, all of the meat alternatives. So one of the companies they were highlighting this morning in the program was Daring Foods. Now, they're specializing in faux poultry type items. They are now in 6,000 stores nationwide, and it is a soy-based product, but it is a soy concentrate. So I'm not advocating that it's something that you should eat, but they have gotten this far in just 2 years. So that's pretty exciting for all of us because of the awareness that there's starting to be in mainstream restaurants and in the press. So they say that 71% of consumers have said that they have tried a plant-based meat alternative. And 54% of these people say that they are willing to pay extra for it. So did you want to address about the fast food restaurants, Tom, that have the fake meats in them? And
yeah, because a lot of this conversation in the program had a lot to do with a lot of highly processed, very processed products that are coming in, have been in the plant-based community and are coming into the plant-based community. Tami is going to be talking about an individual that on the East Coast that's trying to work.
Don't spoil it for me.
More sensibly than that. But, the framework of this, as I've mentioned before, is I entered the, plant-based world through fake meats. I don't even like to say that, but that's,
I talked about that, but you must not have been listening.
Well, no, I was looking over here. So anyway, without those, it would have been a much more difficult transition, I believe. And so I will say as an example that there is a value to that. What we are seeing so far as gateway non-animal products coming into the market, and where things are really measured in the United States is in fast food trends.
Mm-hmm.
And notably more recently, Oatly oat milk company has signed a contract to provide an oat milk based creamer for Starbucks. And currently Beyond, among others, is in McDonald's, Taco Bell, Carl's Jr.'s, and Del Taco here on the West Coast. The Impossible Burger, the competition to Beyond Meat, is in White Castle and Burger King. And Beyond Meat, for instance, is on the NASDAQ exchange as BYND. And then Oatly is also on the NASDAQ exchange. And there was some conversation a few years ago from one of the lectures that we went to, is that things won't really start happening in terms of improving the nation's health, improving the ecological situation by reducing animal farming and so forth, won't happen until there's money involved. Mm-hmm. We originally thought that insurance companies, health insurance companies, should get on board and advocate a plant-based diet because it would improve the general health of people and minimize the financial risk that insurance companies have. I actually, to this day, still don't understand why that hasn't occurred more.
I think it'll happen once one of the presidents or vice presidents of one of these insurance companies becomes ill and then discovers how a plant-based diet can reverse heart disease or type 2 diabetes.
And then
I think then
it might become a national campaign.
Yeah.
But now what's emerging in terms of, you got to follow the money. If you want things to happen, there's got to be some money in it. Yep. The closer we get to the ground with our food, the closer we are to how it grows coming up out of the ground, the less expensive it is, mm-hmm. the less processed it is, and the more healthy it is. But there's not as much money as pulling a carrot out of the ground or a leaf of lettuce or even what we're growing over there in our kitchen herb garden. But now we're on the stock market with these companies, and there's money to be made. There's astronomical percentages mm-hmm. of growth predicted over the next 10 years. And because they stated in a number of the online finance community articles that we are absolutely at the tip of the iceberg in the investment opportunity in the plant-based community. There is now a venture capitalist company that has put together a portfolio of plant-based companies that they are marketing as a group.
Wow.
So that is happening, and that is an indicator. That is a trend that we can start to sink our vegan teeth into.
And that may not help people get healthier, but it will help the planet. It saves the animals.
Yeah.
So there is good to it. And my hope is, as people, if they do start being curious, plant curious, and eating some of those plant-based alternatives, that eventually they'll learn more, like we did.
Like I did, yeah.
And find out, well, it would be healthier if I, just ate the tofu instead of the tofurkey. And, mm-hmm. I can make my own veggie burger. I don't have to buy the Beyond Meat because the Beyond Meat has as much mm-hmm. fat as the hamburger did, And so that's my hope, is that it'll be a journey.
Yeah.
And that eventually they'll be led to the healthier way to eat. But even if they don't, it will still help the planet and it saves the animals.
Yes.
So that's a good thing.
We have a few stats on that you might be coming up to in the slides here. Okay, I'll send this back over to you.
Thanks. So they had an expert on, Molly Moldy, on the show this morning. And she is a food trends analyst from Data Essentials. And she says there's two reasons that people go plant-based. Of course, the first one is based on a health issue. And we know a lot of people in our community come to plant-based because of that. And the second, and this is how she phrased it, the second reason that people go plant-based is because it is thought to be better for our planet and the environment. Well, many of us who have done some studying up on this believe that that is the truth, that plant-based is absolutely the way to save.
She couched that in one of those thought to be.
She started to say because plant-based is and is better, but then she backed up and said is thought to be better. Did you catch that when we were? There was like a pause, and then she corrected herself.
Giving cover for alternative opinions
I
from
guess
other
so.
sources that she's connected with. Yeah, that's what I was referring to. What happens on the news programs?
Right. So global food production produces 1/3 of all human-caused greenhouse gas emissions, contributing to climate change. And raising animals for food, especially cows, accounts for nearly twice as much planet-warming emissions as plant-based foods.
That specification and the information on that slide I was just showing as Tami was talking is coming from the University of Illinois at Champaign-Urbana, right smack in the heart of the Midwest. That's out there is all pork, cattle, corn, soybeans, raised mostly to feed the pork and the cattle.
Right.
So the source of this is screenshots from this morning's CBS program.
And their information.
And she's getting her information from a well-known agricultural school in the heartland.
Right.
So just to credit our source there.
It's a good idea to do it. So there's there's a lot of people that are trying to educate people and provide healthy food to them. We have some restaurants in our own area that are doing this. And then they profiled this Ron Newsbacker. He is the founder of Shuk. It's a chain of Israeli street, what are you doing, Tom? Food restaurants. Two more
slides after that one that I had queued up here to show the rest of the information.
I already said all that stuff.
The 57% slide and the 29% slide?
Yeah, I already said that stuff.
I had them in order as they came off the... Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
All right. Okay, so now we're talking about this guy.
I know, you got to listen to what I'm talking about. So he has a chain of Israeli street food restaurants in Washington, D.C. And his food is what he calls plant forward because he wants people to learn how to enjoy eating vegetables. He doesn't want to hide the vegetables. He doesn't want to make fake meats. And so he thinks, let's just show people how delicious real food can be. And I totally applaud that. I think it's amazing. His motivation is he wants to save the planet because he has children and he wants to leave a healthy, well planet for his children to live in. So that's one of his burgers there, and you can see that it's made from real ingredients. It has grains in it and beans, and I guess it's one of their burgers that they're well known for. So that's pretty exciting. And we do have some local restaurants here that are doing a really good job of providing healthy plant-based food too. So if you want to know more, I highly recommend that you read Glenn Mercer's book, Food is Climate. And we had Glenn on. We have an interview with him where we talked all about his research. And not only do you get all of the research in here, but you also get a lot of delicious recipes that Tiffany has recipes. Our moderator, Tiffany, has recipes in here. Myself, Chef AJ, Reeves and Dylan, Brittany from the Giroudi family. There's just a lot of wonderful recipes in here that are SOS free as well. So when we did have Glenn on and talked about the book and about climate change. I did get a couple of emails from people who didn't appreciate the conversation about it and told me I should just stick with plant-based cooking, and they told me that they didn't appreciate me becoming political. I don't consider this a political issue. Tom doesn't consider this a political issue. We consider this to be a global issue that all of us have a responsibility to help change and make things better. So what else do you want to add to it, Tom? You don't know. You're busy over there doing stuff.
I'm looking for questions.
Okay, he's busy over there reading.
I have no idea what you're saying.
So anyway, I'm just curious what if any of you guys saw this morning's show. If not, I do highly recommend that you watch it. It was so wonderful. They also, you guys, they interviewed Tabitha Brown, and I follow her, have been following her for quite some time on Instagram. She is a beautiful, just a wonderful spirited African-American woman who has gone vegan, and she shares recipes, and she's so enthusiastic, and she just did a wonderful job with her interview this morning. And you know, she adds a lot of humor to being plant-based / vegan, and you know, it was amazing to see her on there as well. So many people in the plant-based movement that are moving and shaking and making changes. I just love to see it. So Tom, do you have any questions about what we're talking about so far?
Well, there's some commentary going on about folks that I'm going to adjust. We're sharing the microphone here, so I have to remember to center that up. Sorry about that. There's some commentary about the folks that have actually quite literally told you that you should stick to recipes and keep your health of the planet and you know, those other kinds of conversations really is.
What one of them told me is that she went plant-based for health and only for health, and she is not interested in hearing any of these other things that I talk about.
Okay. Well, my recommendation for that lady is to unsubscribe from the Nutmeg Notebook channel.
Thank you. I agree.
Because we might accidentally say something about the health of our planet, or our personal health, or saving an animal. And I do realize some of today's photos from the excerpts did have animals in them, and not stuff we would typically show, but it was kind of pertinent to the program. So,
well, I don't think we showed anything that was truly offensive.
Yeah, well, there was some ground beef on there, which is not something that...
well, I didn't know, was that ground beef or was it the Beyond Meat? I wasn't sure.
Okay, well, the slide...
it was ground beef.
I can't read the fine print on that one.
So, well, anyway, it was just really refreshing to see that article this morning. And so, Susan, thank you. If you're watching, thank you so much for cueing us in on it early this morning, because we wouldn't have seen it until tonight. And once we saw it, we were like...
We went in, oh man, we should have talked about that on today's program.
Yeah, and so we were like, we have to talk about this on today's program.
Yeah, and it was, I didn't time it, but it was, let's just say it was almost 10 minutes of commentary on the plant-based, which is a huge chunk of airtime for a major network to lay out there. I mean, Netflix, has the documentaries on there, full libraries of them. They're not depending on the dollars of their sponsors. So, so even though it was laced with tons of junk food, they're taking a risk at marketing that information or putting that information out on the news.
Right.
So,
well, the nice thing about it is that it might give somebody, plant a little seed and might make somebody a little bit plant curious. Yeah. Because, when the one gal was talking about how, a lot of people do the go plant-based for health. Well, hopefully that'll make somebody think, what? And then I just Googled today plant-based health and to see what would come up, and just tons.
Compared to when we
Tons of
started
stuff.
out, it's huge.
It
The
is.
amount of information that's available now from just 5 years ago, it's the percentages like they were showing there. 3,000, 4,000. You did say 400% instead of
Did I?
3,000%.
Okay, I'm so sorry.
And then somebody else commented that Tom is right.
Okay.
And of course, I love seeing that in print.
I apologize.
It's not often I get the opportunity to be right. Okay, so
That's
thank you.
not true. That's not true. Oh, that's so funny.
Okay. What were we talking about?
I had a couple questions from people.
General questions.
So
Okay.
general questions. So Marcy wrote and she said, "I love your videos. I can't talk today. And advice. Not only am I getting percentages wrong, but I'm getting my words wrong. I'm just starting out and bought the Breville. The issue is when I air fry the items, they do not seem to get the crunchy fried texture I'm hoping for. Any advice?" Marcy, you didn't tell me what it is that you're air frying. So if you're watching, please put in the chat with 4 question marks and then put in your answer. What are you air frying? So not everything is going to have a crispy texture. So if you take a spear of asparagus and batter it and deep fat fry it, it's going to be crispy on the outside. But if you take asparagus and put asparagus in the air fryer and just air fry it, it's not going to be crispy. It's going to be cooked and it's going to taste really good, but it's not going to be crispy. So things that you can crisp up in it, if you look at my videos or go to the blog and look at my recipes, you can make crispy chickpea croutons, or these can be crispy little snacks. And these are made without oil. These are air fried, and they do get crispy, crunchy. I don't want to crunch one right now because I don't want to talk with my mouth full, but I don't know if you can hear these. These get all crispy and crunchy. When we take already cooked cold potatoes from the fridge and we cut them and put them in the air fryer, 400 degrees, depending on how big they are, about 20 minutes, they will get really crispy and crunchy on the outside. Tom loves to make tortilla chips, oil-free tortilla chips in the air fryer. They get really crispy and crunchy. So, so there's some things that we can make in there that will get crispy. I do Japanese sweet potato croutons, and I take and cut those up. They're cold, already cooked, and then I cut them up. I'll either leave them plain or put some of the salt-free everything bagel seasoning on them and put them in the air fryer, 400 degrees for 15 minutes or so, and just depends on how big and how moist they are, and they will get crispy on the outside. The skin especially will get crispy, and then you'll have something that resembles a crouton, but of course it's a sweet potato, so it's soft in the middle, but it'll get crispy on the outside. But if you're doing vegetables in there, just plain vegetables, the vegetables are not going to get crispy, but they're going to cook and they're going to have a really great flavor. So let me know what you are cooking in there, and then I'll try to help you. Betty emailed and said, "Are you still sprouting, and are you still growing herbs in your AeroGarden?" So we have not started sprouting since we got back from Greece, and we had stopped sprouting the week before we went because we didn't want to have sprouts growing and not be here to eat them.
But I did get a new AeroGarden planted. Well,
You did. After we got back.
Genovese? How do you say that
I
basil?
don't know.
Anyway.
You need to Google that,
Genovese basil, it's only like this tall, and the Thai basil, which is only like that tall. They just came up, they're 14 days in, and both of them are, less than an inch tall. And we cut back on how many we're planting because by the time they get big, they get huge. Because I wind up with a basil bush behind the sink over there. So nothing really to show you right now. But I did
because they're this tall.
But I did get the AeroGarden replanted, which it is going to constitute 2 plants because they grow multiple stalks, and then we cannot
They
eat
just
them.
fill it up.
We cannot eat. I put some nearly every day. We clip some off, and it goes in our soup or on salad or whatever. So anyway, we're back in business on that, and the sprouting, as we settle back into our routine, will come as well.
Yes, it's true. Oh, did you take yourself off screen?
I did.
You did. Oh, so abruptly. Okay, so a couple other things that I wanted to share with you. What time is it? I don't even know how much time that took. Oh, we're doing great. Okay, so I wanted to make sure you guys know about the zip tops. Do you want to get in here on this?
Yeah, let me get to a bigger window here.
Okay, so the zip tops are on sale.
I might want to zoom out a little bit.
I think you're okay. I think it's okay. The zip tops are on sale. We are affiliates with the company, and we absolutely love the zip tops. We took them to Greece with us. We went hiking yesterday, and we packed some of our lunch in the zip tops. So these are a high quality silicone that is BPA free. They're made in the USA. They're extremely high quality. They can go in the dishwasher. They can go in the microwave. We are using them all the time, and they replace your single-use plastic bags. So they are much friendlier for the environment, and they come in a variety of colors. And our grandkids absolutely love these little ones that are made like little animals. So I ordered a set for them to have at home, and then we have two sets of them
here.
And
there's a front
and a back.
Yeah, there's a front on here. This has got a little bit of a nose and a whisker arrangement going on, and then there's a little something on the back, which I think is a tail.
And this one's the pig, so it has the little spiral on the back.
Yeah. So this has
the pig face.
It's just
the nose, the snout.
And then on the back is just a little. I'm trying to get that to show up there. A little spiral thing on the back. What angle is going to work there?
I don't know. But anyway, they're super cute, and the kids love them. And we really enjoy using these, so we're happy to be affiliates with them.
Yeah.
And these would make great little stocking stuffers. But everybody likes these, so I got another set so that when they're over or we're going to the park or what have you, we can all take our snacks, our little snacks, in the little containers.
And we wanted, this is the
little
kitty one, with the whiskers. We wanted to show these today because these do make a great. We have gifted these to folks, so they make a great little gift, and
they're 25% off. So use our affiliate link that you can find in the description.
Yeah, and that is a holiday promotion that's going now till November 29th with zip tops. So
and use our code nutmeg, which is all caps.
Yeah, it's not there until you get all the way into the cart. So as you're looking at prices, take 25% off mentally, and then the computer will do it at the very end. And we save a lot of single-use plastic bags from as much as we have wound up using these.
Yes, it's wonderful. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to show you guys, somebody had told me a while back that they buy this great big bag of organic peeled garlic at Costco, and then they roast it and freeze it. And so when we got back from Greece, we went and did our shopping, and I bought this big bag because I told Tom I'm going to roast it. Well, then I couldn't find the directions. So I don't know if it was somebody emailed me or left me a message on Instagram or Facebook. I don't know where it was. I couldn't find it. I posted again yesterday asking, and nobody said, oh yeah, that was me. So I just went ahead this morning and experimented. So I just wanted to share with you what I did. I did not do the whole bag because I thought, well, this is an experiment and I sure don't want to waste this whole bag of garlic. So all I did was put it in this ceramic dish. I put about probably 3 tablespoons of water in the bottom, and then I covered the top of it with foil, and the foil was not touching the garlic, so I felt fine using the foil. And I put it in the oven at 400 degrees. I preheated the oven, and I put it in there. I checked it at 30 minutes, and most of the moisture had gone, so I just threw 3 ice cubes in so they could just melt and add some moisture because I didn't want it to stick to the bottom. And then I baked it for another 15 minutes. So a total of 45 minutes, and it is absolutely delicious. It tastes buttery. It's amazing. So I'm going to freeze it up, and I'll probably use my super cubes, the little tray that will hold like 2 ounces, and I'm going to freeze it up. And then once it's frozen out of that super cubes, I'll pop it out and put it in a freezer container. And I am going to go ahead and do a lot more of the rest of the bag. Now, what somebody else did tell me they do is they take this and divide it up into little pouches and freeze it in small amounts, and then they just pull one out as they need it. So I love getting the peeled garlic because it's so convenient to use, and I really love the roasted garlic. It mellows it out. It just gives it such a smooth flavor, and this is so delicious if you use this in my garlic mashed potatoes instead of using the raw garlic. It's amazing. Now, also when I posted this on Instagram, a couple people wanted to point out to me that there had been a Netflix documentary about peeled garlic and how people in China do it for hours, and when their fingers get so raw they can't peel the garlic anymore with their fingers. They use their teeth, and that Christopher Ranch was profiled in there as being part of that. And Christopher Ranch is a company here in California. They are down by Gilroy, which is the garlic capital of the world, and they said that they were not part of the company that was profiled as being a part of that, and that they grow this in California. 90% of their garlic is grown right here in California. They use a pressure process to peel it, and so it undergoes high pressure, which just blows the peel off of it. And the way you can tell the difference between garlic that is grown in California and peeled in California versus some that comes from China is, I don't know if you can hold this up to the camera or if I can get it up there close enough, but do you see how the stem end is intact? I don't know if you can see it or not, but the stem end is intact. So you can see the little bit of brown stem. And if it is peeled outside of the U.S., in order to be approved by the FDA to be allowed to bring it into the country, that stem has to be completely removed. And and this is organic garlic. It is grown here in California. It is peeled down in Gilroy and packaged and then sold. So I just wanted to clear that up because people were like, I can't believe you supported that company.
You're just to start a garlic controversy. That's what's going on.
I tell you, I innocently post things, and then people love to.
No, I do remember that documentary. I had to do it
We did
with prison labor, but yeah, Christopher Ranch has their own thing going here,
yes, and if you do some research online and read about what went on, and they have a rebuttal, and some people that had been interviewed for that recanted their stories afterwards, and so lots of things. But
All right.
anyway,
A couple questions for you.
try roasting it. It's amazing.
Yeah, so your intent is to roast this whole bag and then freeze it up and
Yeah,
use it as you need it.
I think a little bit of it I might freeze. Like somebody said, just take it and put it in small containers and freeze it, and then you can pull it out and use it as needed, because sometimes I might not want it to be roasted, you know. Sometimes I want to
So
saute it.
I didn't know if you were going to like smush a bunch of these into like the super cubes,
Yes.
2 tablespoon squares, and freeze it up in little garlic
Yeah.
blocks ready to go. So,
Yeah,
okay.
that's what I talked about.
I didn't hear the super cubes part.
I know, it's because you're always reading the chat, and so then you miss out on what I'm saying.
I have a couple of questions from the chat.
Okay, what do you have?
Shall we talk about them?
Sure.
I'm done talking about.
Did you haven't tasted these yet?
No.
This tastes amazing. So this would also just be delicious, like smashed and then spread on a baked potato.
Yeah. Okay.
It's so good. And
It would.
it smells wonderful, doesn't it?
It does. I would eat them right now, but then I would have garlic breath.
But garlic is so healthy for us.
Yes, it is. Now I'll eat some. Okay, Renee Coleman's asking, have you ever heard of a product called Salt for Life? It has 75% less sodium.
I have not.
Our salt substitutes are 100% less sodium. So, but no, we have not heard of that one.
I have not.
Elizabeth is asking, did you say you just got back from Greece? Or if not, when did you go? If you will watch last week's live, we talk a little bit about that. We show just a very few slides that we took in Greece. We didn't want it to turn into a full-on home movie thing. A lot of danger in that. So yes, we did go to Greece on a 10-day COVID bubble ship.
Yes.
So
It was very safe.
I mean, COVID bubble in is that there was no COVID on the ship.
There was no COVID. We got tested so many times. It was a really good thing, because we did feel safe, because they were testing all of us.
See, if you got test positive, I think you were overboard or something. I don't know. That's not true. I shouldn't say that.
That's not true.
Okay, and then there was another question.
Yes.
Bev says, do you have a blog post on how you do your AeroGarden? Do we have one blog post on the?
I don't think we ever did a blog post.
Yeah, if you search Nutmeg Notebook AeroGarden,
we talked about it in one of our videos.
It may come up because of a tag that's in one of our videos, because we have shown it when it was fully grown. We have shown it a time or two during previous lives. I couldn't tell you which one right now, but yeah, search Nutmeg Notebook AeroGarden and see what comes up. It might be one of those videos that it's like part of a larger show.
We didn't have good luck with parsley. Our parsley never grew very well.
Oh.
But the basil grew amazing.
Both basils.
The 2 different kinds of basil. I've wanted to do the edible flowers, but they're sold out. Every time we go on and try to order them, they're sold out.
Yeah, every time I order pods, I do check, and they've been sold out. So I don't know what's up with that.
And we also discovered that like doing 6 plants was just too many. Mm-hmm. So we usually only do 2 or 3.
Right,
because it produces so much.
Well, because what we grow gets big. If you're choosing some of the other smaller profile herbs, you could fill all 6 or even all 9 of those pods, and they would be a nice big bushy thing. It might be fun to try that with like, they sell like leaf lettuce and stuff. But if you do that, we would cut that off, and that's one meal. What are these people thinking?
I don't know.
They do have cherry tomato bushes that grow up 2 feet high with lots of. That could be fun, but as an experiment,
could be fun maybe in the winter time.
It would be pretty over there.
Oh, we should try that.
We should order. We could even start a tomato pod now and let it tower over the. No, the basil ones grow to the top.
They do. They get really big. How tall does the tomato one?
2 feet. That thing goes to 2 feet high. Jesse says if we both eat a garlic, then no one will notice.
It's true. I did eat one earlier. Okay. And I haven't brushed my teeth yet since I ate it.
Tiffany says couples that eat garlic together stay together.
Yeah, because they have to.
Okay, Mary Jo has a real question. How do you wash your zip tops? Sometimes if they've gotten scruffy inside, we will put them in the dishwasher upside down.
Upside down.
They don't like dry themselves in the dishwasher because this is, food grade silicone. It can take a lot of heat, so you do have to shove a towel up in there and dry it out, right. and then they dry out pretty readily. But we kind of
I
treat them.
also hand wash them.
Yeah.
If they're not real dirty, I just hand wash them. And then because they stay open, then you can just take them and put them in upside down in your dish drainer. And they mostly get dry. And then at the end, like Tom said, we just take a dish towel.
Silicone
and
seems to
them.
like to hang on to the water.
Yeah. Even my silicone bakeware does too. Yeah. So, but then they can go in the dishwasher, which is really nice. And then see, they just zip closed now, and they're not intended for liquids, you guys. They tell you straight up that they are not intended for liquids.
It would do fine for like a bunch of this garlic.
Oh, it would be great for that. But I mean, you wouldn't put soup in this and then take it in your lunchbox. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't trust it for that. But we took stuff in them, like I dehydrated hummus to take to Greece with us, and I made muffins, and I made
bunches of grapes work well, chickpeas
and
work well.
I made the crispy garlic croutons with the chickpeas, and we took those, and none of them, nothing came open on its own. And those were well tousled around.
We have another question. Oh, I-58 Farms. Hello, how are you doing? Okay. How do you replant your basil? I thought I was going to do that. I wanted to do that. I took the AeroGarden completely apart because I had this giant 2-foot basil plant that I thought, it was time to move it outside into our shade plant garden. And it had an equally giant root ball on the bottom. And the trunk, and I'm not saying stem, I'm saying the trunk of the basil plant at that point was like the diameter of my thumb, and then there was another one. So it was more of a basil tree at this point. And at that point, it was about 160 days. It had been growing in there for because there's a little computer chip, and it tells you everything that's going on with your garden, beeps at you when it's time to feed it, and all that stuff. But it had been growing for 160 days and, harvesting all along. And it was just done. I wanted to save it. But the only way to get it out of the AeroGarden lid was to get my pruning shears from the shed and cut my basil tree in half. And of course, then it was done. So if you're going to, you can use a thing for a starter. They have a special lid for that with a whole bunch of little pod things. And you can do spring starts in it and get a jump if you live in a cold climate, which we don't. But anyway,
and you did dehydrate some of your Thai basil.
I dehydrated a couple of big batches, the whole dehydrator full of Thai basil. I'm still actually eating off of last year's dehydrated Thai basil. So I'm not out while we're waiting for the new one to grow here. I'm still eating off of our last Thai basil plant. So
you just dehydrated it, and then we put it in jars.
Yeah. So yeah, no replanting. Just cut it all down and dehydrate it, and go from there. So good question. I thought I was going to, but there's no way to get it apart. Next time I'm going to have to get the chainsaw.
I suppose if you didn't let it get so big, if you didn't leave it in there,
those root balls expand. They just explode in there with all the nutrients and stuff in there. Those root balls just out. They just go out. You would really be maiming them to pull them through the little hole. Okay. So, how long do you dehydrate hummus? It's such a wet item, Anne is asking.
Yeah, I think that I did it for 3 hours at like 135 degrees. So it's going to depend on a couple of things: how thin you spread it, and how much moisture, how much humidity is where you live. So those two things will affect it. So I spread it really thin because I was dehydrating it like the day before we left. And I dehydrated it 135 degrees, and I think...
And that's a warmer dehydration temperature. A lot of other things, like my basil, I was dehydrating like at 105 or even 95.
Something like that, yeah.
More gentle, yeah.
Yeah. So, and then once it was all done, then I put it in the food processor and processed it to break it up really well. And it worked great because we took frozen hummus with us on the flight to Greece. And then on the way back, I thought, well, I don't have a way to, freeze hummus. And so I made the dehydrated, and then we just had bottled water, and I had it a container. We had it in
and some
one
crumbs of
these.
Mary's crackers from the trip out.
Yeah, and we had some Mary's crackers left. And so we just added water to it, and I just kept adding water to it and stirring it until it was the right consistency, and that it made a meal for us with some Mary's Gone crackers.
Okay.
All right.
I'm checking here. There's some dialogue going about that, Randy. There, I have a bamboo cutting board on top of mine 24/7. Okay, there's a question I got to scroll up to about the cutting board.
Okay. The cutting board on top of the Breville?
I don't know what the question is because I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm just curious, do you guys have your menu planned for Thanksgiving? Are you hosting or are you going someplace, and do you know what you're making? And I did spend quite a few hours on a blog post for our vegan holiday recipe roundup. So that is the newest post on the blog.
Published earlier this week, and I sent out a reminder link to everybody on the newsletter this morning.
So check that out.
Voracious Vegan is stating, back on the garlic.
Yes.
I peel entire bowls of garlic at a time by placing the bulb in a stainless steel bowl, covering it with another stainless steel bowl, inverted over it, and then shaking vigorously works like a charm.
Nice. You have more patience than I do. I just do not want to peel garlic. I've peeled garlic a lot of years, and I'm happy to buy it already peeled for myself.
So we talked about how we wash the zip tops.
There's just a few things that I just want to save time on.
Yeah, Voracious Vegans, how do I use the Thai basil? Mostly it goes into my steamed vegetable soup. I prepare out of whatever veggies are lingering in the refrigerator.
Or frozen. Sometimes you'll use frozen.
Or frozen veggies as well. Those of you that are veterans on this site will know that we kindly call that dump soup, because I dump whatever looks like it's going to age out into my pressure cooker, and actually I don't put the Thai basil in there. I use a 2-quart Corelle bowl and throw some, typically these days, some frozen broccoli in there because it gets too mushy in the pressure cooker. Because I'm putting raw potatoes in the pressure cooker, raw Brussels sprouts, raw carrots, raw onion, a bunch of other stuff, and steaming it for 5 minutes.
Mushrooms.
I'm using 2 cups of water with a steamer basket. I'm putting some mushrooms in, some dried mushrooms in there to bring up the flavor, kind of a umami flavor,
Yeah. Good job.
And then I steam it, put everything on top of the frozen, but the broccoli that was frozen that I've microwaved for like a minute and a half just to bring it up to temperature. Add a few cubes of tofu and dump all the veggies on there. And then I take all of that broth, all 2 cups of it, and that gets poured over that. And I use various seasonings, typically just Kirkland no salt seasoning, sometimes Warrior World seasonings.
And then you put your Thai basil.
And I sprinkle the Thai basil on top of that, either fresh or dried, just to give it a little bit more of a peppery flavor to it.
And sometimes you used to do noodles, like the rice noodles. But you haven't done that for a long time, the rice noodles.
No, I haven't.
You like the potatoes better.
I'm getting my starch from the potatoes. If I wasn't doing potatoes, I could do we used to buy the rice noodles.
Yeah.
But I migrated away from those just to be a little bit less processed, I think. But we still have some rice noodles.
We do.
I'll have to check them out. Okay. How often do you replant your basil from I-58 Farms? Each grow seems to last between 140 to 160 days. So we're really only planting that thing a little more than 2 times a year. It just really goes a long time. So
it does.
Yeah, we're gonna like.
I wish we could grow cilantro. People say they don't have very good luck with it because I use a lot of cilantro.
Yeah.
But if it didn't do any better than the parsley over there.
Yeah.
But cilantro would be good because I buy that
a bunch every
week.
Yeah.
Sometimes 2 bunches.
Well, we can do an experiment, but now I've got
favorite.
100 and some days ahead of us of basil going right now.
I know.
Unless you want to get me another AeroGrow garden. Okay, here's Randy Carroll. Do you leave your wooden cutting board on top of your Breville when it's running? Absolutely.
Yes.
That cutting board has been on top of that Breville now for almost 4 years. It is not scorched. Scorched?
You're about as good as I am
Scorched
today.
is when you have something starchy that gets scorched. That's called scorch.
Scorch.
So, and it is a landing pad for when we pull the tray out of the Breville and put it up on top. And and there are on top of the cutting board some little marks from the hot metal of the air fryer tray.
Yes.
That I could remove with just a little bit of abrasive scrubbing, but it's kind of a non-issue. So it's been up there for 4 years. It's air gapped. They've underneath it they've relieved some of the material to make a bigger air gap. It's on some kind of silicone heat resistant feet, so it's absolutely fine to be up there, and it even
It's
kind
intended to
of
be
makes
up there.
a little bit of a heat barrier even from whatever's above it. We have plenty of space above it. You will see ours sits close to the wall over there. I don't know if it shows up on, yeah, there it is on the Tami cam.
And we do not leave lemons or tomatoes or anything sitting
So
up
I've got
there.
a big air gap.
I only do that for the show.
Yeah, I've got a big air gap on the side closest to Tami, legal air gap above and behind, and then it's up against the marble on the wall that it's close to, which of course is not affected by the heat from that. So thank you for that question. And I got to do some scrolling here.
Anybody sharing what they're doing for Thanksgiving, what they're making? I'm curious what you guys are making.
Randy Carroll's wondering, do you roast the garlic in the Breville, or did you roast it in the big oven? Or did you roast your
No, I
garlic?
did it in the Breville on bake. I did the bake, 400 degrees, foil over it, a little bit of water in the pan.
Did you guys know that the Breville air fryer bakes and roasts? And
You can do things
it
other
has
than air
a
fry.
pizza setting, and it proofs my wheat homemade pizza dough. It bakes muffins.
I baked muffins in it
It's
today.
the most amazing air fryer. My brain just is all about air frying my chips, air frying the potatoes for smashed but crispy. Did you mention when you're talking about your potatoes do come out crispy and
They
crunchy?
do. Mm-hmm.
We all are so hyped up about air frying, but this thing does everything
I
else
baked
too.
muffins in it today. I used my quinoa banana oat muffin mix, and I chopped an apple and half a cup of fresh cranberries in the food processor, and I added about a quarter of a cup of orange juice, freshly squeezed orange juice, and about a tablespoon of orange zest.
Mm-hmm.
And then mixed them all up and baked them. I had to bake them about 5 minutes longer.
Oh,
'cause
are those like little desserts for us for later tonight?
they could be.
Oh,
Ooh.
okay.
And so those were really fun. And so
Okay.
I made those today.
Okay, are you going to, the Harvest Festival's over now. It was Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yep.
Okay.
If our local people didn't make it to the Sacramento Harvest Festival, you missed the opportunity to see Thomas,
Thomas and
from
get some-
California Balsamic. And we just had a really fun time there. We found a lady who had a booth set up, and she had vegan baked goods. It said plant-based treats.
Yeah.
And she was really sweet, and she's been plant-based for 3 years, I think she said, and started this business.
Making the festival
And-
circuit.
She didn't have anything gluten-free, but Tom got an oil-free blueberry like coffee cake,
Yeah.
and she used applesauce in it instead of oil. And so that was fun to see. We've never seen anything other than the vinegars there that has been food-wise that was plant-based. So that was really fun.
Okay, we have a question from Linda. And Linda, I apologize. I saw this come up earlier and was going to get to it. I don't know if you asked it or someone else. If it was you, thank you for re-asking it because I just did spot it again. Linda's asking if there's going to be a Black Friday promotion on Holland Bowls. What is going to be happening with Holland Bowls will be published at midnight on or at 12:01 a.m. on Friday, on Black
We're not allowed to say.
But what's going to
What it is.
But what's going to happen will be published on an automated email that I'm going to set up to go out at midnight on Black Friday.
And we will do a live show on Friday.
Yeah, we will be on
morning.
Friday morning on a longer YouTube channel, going over all of our favorite kitchen things that serve us well, that might make good gifts for you to get for yourself, or to have your spouse get for you, or to get for another family member.
Yeah.
So there's many possibilities with that. But we'll be kind of reviewing our favorite kitchen small appliances and stuff that resonate with us. Quite a number of folks did take advantage of the pre-Black Friday sale that Breville had.
Yes, that was awesome.
And we did run out Amazon's inventory. There is still some third-party inventory at a higher price now. I think I've seen some for around $400 instead of the $320 that we were capturing there.
So
and then there's some
others
got it back up to like $500. So, but there was one vendor I saw yesterday that had it for $400 with a longer wait to get it.
Oh.
So still keep looking around there, and we'll be double checking that again as we get to it.
You can probably still find it at Bed Bath & Beyond.
Yeah.
And as far as we know, they'll still let you use your 20% off coupon in store. And it says Breville is not, that the coupon can't be used for Breville, but they always honor it.
Yeah. And then one thing we do check on Black Friday is anything that any kitchen appliances that we find work well for us. We cruise and check them on Amazon, the morning of, to see if any of our stuff is on any kind of Black Friday deal. Amazon sends us a ton of things that are on what they call it on deal, that don't really pertain to our
aren't anything that we
our
would
dynamic.
Use. Yeah.
And so those things exist. We always invite you to walk in the door of the Amazon store through the Nutmeg Notebook shopping page, and look around on our specified list. I do need to clean up the holiday shopping list for this year, and I'll curate that before we get to Friday. So we will be with family on Thursday, and then we will be here on YouTube, Nutmeg Notebook YouTube, going through our stuff. And then we may pop on to Amazon Live for a little bit too, just to serve that community, because it's an additional group that we can reach there.
Well, it's just like every other marketplace during the pandemic. Some things do run out on Amazon, and some companies are having a hard time getting parts to put their items together.
Yeah, and they time them too. I mean, there's stuff going on now. I checked this morning to see if any of again, our pertinent stuff was on pre-Black Friday sale today. I didn't see anything. So I'm checking that every day just to see if there's, because that's how we stumbled across the Breville thing.
Yeah. Was
just organically found it. So
that was a good find for people.
Okay.
That was really good.
Okay, Randy Carroll says the nutrition professor Tami was talking about a bread that you bake that ends up looking like a turkey. Has anyone seen that? Have you seen Tami's?
I have not.
Turkey-shaped bread?
I have not seen that.
Okay.
So look at her. She has a website, the Nutrition Professor. So look at her website.
Is it .org? Nutritionprofessor.org?
I don't know if it's .com or .org, but okay. you can just Google Tami Hagenberger,
and she'll come up.
Yeah, and find her, and she might have some YouTube videos too. I'm not sure. So no, I'm not familiar, and because I'm gluten-free, I don't bake bread, so I'm not familiar with it. So, and I'm making our hearty lentil shepherd's pie. Is going to be what I'm making. I made my cranberry chutney today, so I got that done, and I just I'm gonna make a dessert and a salad to go with that, and I might bake some sweet potatoes just so we can have some sweet potatoes, but I'm keeping it very, very simple and easy. So I'm trying to not overdo things and leave lots of time to just play and have fun. Like yesterday, we went for a hike. We had such a good time. Tom in the morning said, hey, instead of going for our usual 4-mile walk in the neighborhood, how about we go up and into the foothills and do a nice hike? So we did that. It was an 8-mile hike with a 1,000-foot elevation gain, and took us about 4 hours. But we stopped and
took
lots
pictures.
Of pictures.
We had a leisurely plant-based lunch on the highest point in the park, overlooking 360 degrees for miles and miles around.
Yeah.
We could see all the way to the mountain peaks overlooking Lake Tahoe and all the way over to the coastal range, and it was a magnificent view.
Yeah, it was a beautiful day, and that was so much fun, and we could really feel it in our legs
and it was
this morning.
And it was above. We got up out of the we live in the valley, and so we got up above we drove out from the gray foggy day up into 100% sunshine. So that was fun.
It was nice. I think that was one thing that we learned on our trip to Greece, because we went on excursions every day that we would pull into port, and we spent all day outside and walking and seeing things. And we were I think when we got home, we were like, okay, that's what we're missing. We so love to just be out in the great outdoors. We love to hike. We love to be in nature. And we just need to spend more time doing that, making time to do it. Because we always think, oh, we're too busy. We got to get a blog post up, or we need to edit that video, or, I need to make a blog post, or whatever it is. We can find lots of excuses why we need to stay home. Yes.
Voracious Vegan was asking, and actually somebody in the chat feed already answered her, what's the red stuff in that jar?
Oh.
It's not her wine. It's not a wine cooler.
Oh.
It is Beet Boost, and the reason I wanted to jump in is we got a message from Rick that runs NutriGardens, and he has a product that we haven't talked about called Spin Boost, and it's got a spinach additive to it.
Yes.
And as we have advocated before, if you're going to be doing something, this was a conversation we had this morning. We should have drank Beet Boost before we went on our hike.
Yesterday.
Because, or the new Spin Boost, which we're going to get some. It increases your blood flow to your body to make you more athletic. And the effect lasts for 3 hours.
It would have been perfect for that hike.
So he has another product that we're going to study up on, because it's got some kind of a fancy spinach in it, in addition to the beet juice, called Spin Boost. So we're going to learn about that. But yeah, it's from NutriGardens. There's a NutriGardens link down in the show notes, and we will be. And
we have a discount code.
Yeah.
Down there too.
Yeah, discount code down there. So we'll be talking more about the new product. But yeah, Beet Boost from NutriGardens. Tami drinks it fairly regularly, and I should.
You should. I don't know why you don't. And it tastes really good. If you don't like the flavor of beets, you probably won't like it, because it does have that earthy beet flavor going on. Now, I dilute it. I put a tablespoon of it in here. This probably holds about 24 ounces of water, and lots of ice. So I have it pretty...
So you're well hydrated. You've got lots of nitric acid, nitric oxide, not nitric acid. That would be bad. Nitric oxide.
What, did you spike this? What did you put in this?
So you can go climb a mountain.
I could go climb a mountain now. Yeah. I don't know. Better wait a day or two. My calves are still sore from yesterday. Okay. But if we keep doing this, we've got to get back to going on a weekly hike so that we stay conditioned for going uphill.
Okay.
What else is going on?
I think I'm caught up.
Wow.
There's some question marks. Okay, nutrition professor. I'm just scanning for question marks to jump out.
Well, let's ask Jesse or Randy. Did we miss any questions,
Randy
ladies?
Says, what will you make for your grandkids on Thanksgiving? What we're going to be probably eating off of the blog post that Tami made.
Yeah.
The hearty lentil shepherd's pie. Is that what you're making?
That's what I'm making. Yeah. With all the mashed potatoes.
Yeah. So yeah, that blog post is that we put the link in the newsletter today. is pretty descriptive of what we'll be having for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So.
And their mom usually decides, like, you know, what they're going to eat because she doesn't like to serve. She doesn't like them to be served the same thing, you know, 2 or 3 days in a row. She likes to have variety for them. So she usually decides what they're going to eat based on what their menu is for the days preceding a holiday.
Tova has a question for me. I just found on scrolling up. Just went to AeroGarden website. So many choices and sizes. They're all 25% off right now. Mm-hmm. Do they need the Nutmeg notebook code for that? I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, we have the link down. We have our link down in the show notes. But
mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just put in nutmeg, and that should work. On sizes, I bought the big 9 port Harvest Elite. Mostly I was after the ceramic base rather than the stainless steel one or one of the black plastic ones. But I never plant that many plants in it, so I'm not going to say that you need that big of one.
Right.
But the other thing to look at is the intensity of the light. The bigger you go up in size, the more brightness you get from the light up above. So there's specs mm-hmm. on how bright the light is. And since our plants, we know now, get big, and I extend that thing all the way up to its 2-foot height because the basil plants keep growing, expanding and getting taller, and we do trim the top, especially if they look like they're going to bloom. We cut those blooms off so they don't get bitter. It's a matter of how much space you have. You don't, I never plant 9 things. Right. So if there's a 6 one, I probably wouldn't get smaller than that because then your light fixture is going to get smaller. You're going to have less light. You're going to have less growth. So I looked at those things. Often
and one friend of ours that got a small one said it was noisy.
Because there's a little pump in there. And since we have the heavy ceramic base, the little pump doesn't make any, we hear the trickle of water, but we don't hear the pump going. If you had the stainless steel one or the plastic one, you might hear that pump going, but it runs such a short time. I don't think that would be a big deal.
And you can put it anywhere. It doesn't have to be by a window.
No, it does not.
You can put it anywhere. So
it makes its own light.
You can put it in a spare bedroom. We have a corner sink, and so there's space behind the sink. So it was the perfect spot.
So get the biggest one that you have room for. Yeah. There's a big variety in price based on the materials that it's made out of, whether it's the container is the black plastic one, or whether it's the stainless steel one, or ours is the heavy ceramic one. So those are all kind of subjective choices. I think size doesn't matter as much as the brightness of the light matters. And the bigger the size is, then the bigger light you get. So hopefully that's not
and then the other plants that we have just sitting around it benefit from that light as well. And they're always very happy. Yeah,
here Marie is saying the same thing to Tova. We're just 2 people and we have a 9-pod bounty, but I have discovered that we don't need to use all 9 at a time if it's very crowded. So she will use only 4 to 5 at the same time. And I'm, because our plants because the basil gets so big, I'm only using 2 or 3. So
I have this question, I don't know if you know the answer or not, but if you put like grow romaine or leaf lettuce or something in there, when you cut it off, it'll grow back up, another one? But
still, that you're going to have to wait several more days for that to happen. Yeah. So, and I don't know how many times you can get away with doing that.
I was just curious.
That would have to be experiment, but we go through 5 heads of romaine a week.
Well,
when we eat romaine.
Yeah.
When we eat, we're on a romaine boycott right now because it was too dirty.
It's been so awful, so buggy and rusty looking. And
give romaine a second chance, Tami. Give romaine a chance.
I bought some at Trader Joe's last week, and it was nasty.
It was still bad.
Yeah, I ended up throwing it in our smoothie.
We did a whole video on no romaine. In fact, that video
has gone crazy.
Yeah, has had well over 30,000 views. What is up with that?
It's the batch prep salads, no romaine. And Tom's like, maybe the no romaine made people tune in because they're like, why no romaine?
That's what I think happened.
Well, maybe. You just never. That's a crazy thing. You just never know what video is going to strike a chord with people? What video is going to be successful?
Okay, here's a question I don't know that we can answer from Rebecca. My sister was just diagnosed with NAFLD. Any resources you can think of that I could share with her? She is not currently plant-based, but not a full SAD diet either.
I don't know what NAFLD is.
Okay. Well, we would be sending you to do Google research, referencing doctors' names.
Nutritionfacts.org
is where I was heading. Dr. Greger's nutritionfacts.org is a good starting point. PCRM, Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. Go to one of the medical sites and see if they have any articles that relate to your subject.
Or have a plant-based consult. A consult with one of the plant-based doctors,
right,
is a really good idea. So the doctors at True North Health Center in Santa Rosa, California, do phone consults.
And then Dr. Clapper has his site.
Dr. Clapper, the plant-based telehealth is they have people that are licensed in every state in the U.S., so you can find somebody that you can have a plant-based consultation with. So I would recommend that. That would be money well spent.
Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. Thank you, Jesse.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be a question to take straight to the docs. We clearly we don't have the knowledge base to address that.
Right.
Let's see.
And of course, for whatever, the plant-based diet is good for just about everything and can improve your health. But I think I would definitely want a consult.
Okay. Question from Lucy: was Tabitha Brown on the same CBS Sunday show you mentioned? Yes. And the link is in the show notes for that same show, because they actually posted that segment themselves on YouTube.
Yeah. So it's just that plant-based segment.
CBS put on YouTube.
So the 8 or 10 minutes. It's a short one, but very informative.
Yeah. Voracious Vegan is asking, is the AeroGarden self-watering? Yes, it is. You fill it up to the fill line, and then it has a little pump that waters itself on scientifically determined intervals. Less when the plants are tiny, more when they're bigger. And every 14 days, you add like 10 milliliters of mineral nutrients that are just mineral nutrients. It's not pesticides, it's not herbicides, it's just mineral nutrients into the water to feed the plants. And so, and when the plants get big, they drink a lot of water. I will be pouring.
Because it beeps and tells you.
It beeps that it needs water, and it sits right behind the faucet. So I literally take the flexible nozzle out and hold it over the thing and turn it on. And I'm probably putting a good 2 cups of water in there every couple of days. It really, basil with that light on it, whether it's Giovanni or Thai, drinks a lot of water. So that's the answer to that. And yes, Tabitha Brown is a riot. She's got a...
she's just so fun.
Is it... what's her first platform? The little short video platform she was on.
Oh, TikTok.
TikTok, yeah. She started out on TikTok and kind of went viral
and
there.
now she's an author now. She has a book. She's been endorsed by some food companies. She has her own seasoning mix. She's great. I love following her on Instagram. She does a lot of videos, and she's just very motivational.
Okay. All right. Okay. Gina, yes, we have lettuce in our salads. We're supposed to have lettuce in our salads. I don't know what that's about. There's a dialogue going on.
Oh, well, we have a lot of dark leafy greens. We're not using romaine, but we have...
Yeah, we're still on a romaine bicock, but we're filling it up with lots of other dark leafy greens. I don't know that that's what they're talking about. I don't know what they're
You don't know what they're talking about?
No.
Okay, so we
Lucy.
do spinach and kale and arugula and red cabbage and red onion and tomatoes and carrots and broccoli slaw and
more arugula.
And more arugula.
And if I find random spinach, I'll dump that in there too.
And sometimes I'll do the super greens. It just depends on, what we can find. And so we change it up a little bit just depending on what we can find. So lots of dark leafy greens. And the dark leafy greens, the more pigment that the vegetables have, the more nutrients they have. Yeah. So
Lucy made it to the Harvest Festival, and she told Thomas that we sent her.
Oh, good job, Lucy. Isn't he nice?
Yeah. Okay, all right.
That's fantastic.
Miss Tami, it is got to be 5 something.
It's 5:20.
It's 5:20.
My tummy says, ooh, time to eat. What are you fixing for me?
I thought you said you had dinner ready.
Did I say that? I don't think. I said I had muffins.
Oh, you have dessert ready.
Yeah, but I did. Well, we ate the soup. So I made, just off the cuff, a cream of asparagus soup that was so good. Wasn't that yummy?
Yeah, it was. It was very good.
It was
that
very
hit
good.
The spot.
Yeah, but I should have made a double batch.
Is it gone?
That refrigerator's
It's going to take off.
Oh my gosh.
So Tiffany is wondering if there's going to be more flowers for Thanksgiving.
Oh, I'll probably buy a new bouquet of flowers for Thanksgiving. I usually do. Yeah. So I have to strategize.
Because that bouquet is from...
That's from last week. It still looks great.
Yeah.
Okay. Those were from Whole Foods. No, Costco.
Oh, Gina's answering. She thought our video did better that said no romaine because people are sick of lettuce. And so they thought it was going to be something new and different. Oh.
That could be.
Salad backdrop, no romaine. It's like, salad without romaine.
What's it going to be? Maybe. That could be. Well,
I thought it's because we were creating controversy. Because a lot of
like, what's wrong with romaine?
A lot of YouTube things kind of do a bait and switch thing where they'll say something like really dramatic to make it sound. I've even done that a couple of times, to make it sound like really scary. And then when you get on the video, they kind of like mean the opposite, But we really do mean no romaine, and we're serious.
We are.
It's not a joke.
It's not a joke.
Okay.
I'm so done with romaine.
Okay. Jessie can hear it. She thinks you can hear that. You can hear it.
It sounds like an airplane. It sounds like it's going to take off.
Yeah, the fan motors on these GE. We love this refrigerator, but it has a whole vocabulary of its own. It always has. It's clunking and thumping with its ice makers, and it's got two little fans in there that take off at different times. One's for the crisper, one's for to send the cold air up.
Oh, and it has 2 ice makers, so it's always making ice and making a lot of noise.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So, okay.
But it's the best refrigerator we've ever had.
Oh, Jessie says, let us remain calm.
I like it.
Okay.
I like it. We need a shirt. We need a shirt that says,
Tina thought it was her fridge. Romaine. No, it's our fridge. And, it's 5 years old, and we've had a service call on it. But we might have to have another one that keeps making noise.
We bought the extended warranty, thank goodness.
Yes.
But I don't know. I think they're going to just eventually say we can't do anything.
Okay, well we'll see.
We can't make it be quiet.
Okay, are we ready to wrap? Any last bit announcements? Tune in on Friday for whatever we wind up doing. We'll probably be coming on air about mid-morning on that, maybe 10ish. That will be a product video for Christmas and whatever's going on Black Friday and so forth. And
we'll be on next Sunday.
And then watch emails for other things that come up that have to do with Black Friday promotions. We will share promotions on things that we use in our kitchen. For instance, the Holland Bowl Mill. I sent an email out to another company today to find out what they were doing. Haven't heard, one of our regulars, haven't heard back from them yet. But I'm hoping to have an announcement for that as well, that will go in the same newsletter.
So we'll go live Friday morning.
Yeah.
And tell people what we know.
Yeah, and we don't want to wait late in the day. It'll probably be a mid-morning thing.
Yeah.
And then if it gets to be 11 o'clock and you got to jump off and go to another channel, then we absolutely understand that, because there's another channel that often comes on at 11.
Who would that be?
The 11 o'clock show. Yeah, no, Chef AJ is real consistent with 11 o'clock, so if she's doing it on Black Friday, then we understand that, but we'll probably jump on and get started at 10. We might be on long enough that you can go watch Chef AJ and then come back. So
never know.
Well, we did
We'll
that.
see.
We did that one batch cooking thing that went 3.5 hours, and people stayed.
I know. That was amazing.
Yeah.
We won't be
Okay.
doing that Friday. Everybody will be eating leftovers.
Okay. All right.
On
So
Friday,
all
which
right.
will be
So
good.
it's time.
And then the NHA is they're selling tickets right now for their conference that will be in June. So you can go to the National Health Association, and you can, and it's at a discount
Right.
right now, so you can buy your tickets for that if you wish.
Get signed up for that in advance.
And-
Yep.
yep.
And I did include the link down below in this video.
Nice.
Still talking about the availability of spots on the NHA Cruises.
Yeah.
So you can go on that on the website and check those out. Okay. Gina calls it the 11 o'clock daily show. Okay. All right.
Well, some
Okay.
of you are dailies. Some of you are watching daily. That's awesome. She
Okay.
has a lot of amazing interviews. All right, that's it. I'm Tami,
And I'm Tom.
and we help you
Get healthy and stay healthy. One meal at a time.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
for watching, you guys. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. Happy Thanksgiving.